Okay, so for the 1025 ACT, we're going to start with just questions 6 through 10. So number 6 says, which of the following hypotheses would both scientist 1 and scientist 2 agree is true? So we need something they both believe. So, theropod foot structure was best suited for grasping branches. The evolution of flight tripled the distance. Of all flying birds evolved from theropods, and the evolution of flight is well understood. So, let's look at what this is about. Modern birds arose when theropods, a group of dinosaurs, evolved wings and with them the capability for flight. Scientists believe the evolution of flight among theropods was the key to their survival, but the manner in which their flight evolved remains unknown. So, I read the question, I read the answer choices, and if it's both scientist 1 and 2, so if it's both, look at the passage first. So look at that intro blurb because that just gave me my answer. So now my answer for number 6 is all flying birds evolved from theropods. Number 7. Considering the information in the passage, scientists 1 and 2 would disagree on all but which of the following statements? So disagree. What's different about them? Flight was adapted primarily to aid in climbing trees. Microraptor was adept at running. The evolution of tail feathers was the primary reason theropods adapted to flying. Archaeopteryx was an ancestor of modern birds. So, flight was adapted to aim in climbing trees. So I'm going to look for climbing trees. This is tree-dwelling theropods, could grasp branches, and then rather than evolving flight from trees. So we're going to go ahead and say that we disagree on why that one happened. Microraptor was adept at running. Microraptor also had long legs and tail feathers, which would have severely interfered. And we don't even mention Microraptor here, so that's no, not in scientist 2. The evolution of tail feathers was the primary reason theropods adapted to flying rather than walking. So let's look for tail feathers. Tail feathers here. And there's no tail feathers in scientist 2. So we're going to go ahead and say that's not the answer, so that means D. Archaeopteryx is. So this is also not in scientist 2. All right, number 8. According to scientists 1 and 2, which of the following is true? The evolution of flight most likely helped theropods to survive. Archaeopteryx uses hind legs for perching in trees. We know that only one of them talks about trees. Theropod wings were originally used for mating displays. We never see that word, so it's not a key term. Fossil records provide definitive proof that feathers evolved after flight to aid gliding. So, use their wings, propulsion generated. Which of the following is true? Again, I didn't do this time, but let's go to the passage first. Modern birds arose when theropods evolved wings and with them the capability for flight. Scientists believe that the evolution among theropods was the key to their survival. So that sentence in the passage is what you would put for is believe ... key to survival. And that's where you look for that answer. So the answer there is A. Number 9. Both scientists would most likely agree with which of the following conclusions? Flight required more energy than running. We don't see the word energy. The evolution of flight gave theropods increased mobility. Yeah, flying means they can move there. Let's not cross that off yet. The evolution of flight was possible because theropods were adept climbers. The evolution of flight was possible because theropods were adept runners. This is scientist 1. This one is only scientist 2. So we can cross off C and D. That's another one of those things that doesn't match our strategy. But if we look at number 9 now, that means our answer can only be B. B is the only one that makes sense. And this one, kind of, is common sense. Yeah, flying is going to give you more movement because you're moving more. And the last one for this passage, 10. Based on the information in this passage, scientists 1 and 2 would agree. Scientists 1 and 2, so when it's both of them, you look at the passage. With which of the following conclusions? Theropod wings were much larger than modern birds' wings. The passage, this blurb right here, never talks about wing size. So we can cross that off. No size. Theropods were heavier than their ancestors. We can cross that off. We don't talk about weight either. So we don't mention weight. And remember, when it says both scientists 1 and 2, that means you look above them to the intro. C, theropods developed wings before learning how to fly. Maybe. We'll go read for that. Flight allowed theropods to increase circulation. That term is never mentioned, so we can cross that off. Now, let's just go back and double check to see that we're correct. So, theropods developed wings before learning how to fly. So, they evolved wings and with them the capability for flight. Then if you see this one, it says they have, now we'll just check here. Fossil records show they had curved claws, lightweight skeletons, and feather configurations. And this one says they used their wings to produce thrust while running on the ground. So they had wings while running. So that means our answer is for sure C.